So, the new Tears of the Kingdom gameplay presentation released earlier today. Mr. Awanuma, he played through the game a bit and showed off some new abilities and things you can do in this game. I can't believe there's still people calling this game just DLC. Yes, okay, it's building off the original world of the first game, but it's definitely a lot different, and there's a ton of new mechanics and locations to visit and things to do. So, yeah, I just want to say the creativity in this game is definitely going to be insane. You can put nearly any weapons or object together to make new weapons and vehicles. Also, it looks like you can rebuild Hyrule, which is big because in Breath of the Wild, after you beat Ganon, so you go back to before the boss fight, you're never able to see Hyrule restored or fixed. So I saw this tweet earlier by SwitchStop. So basically, an image, there's some wooden blocks with a tarp, and then another image. It looks like they've been built into a small house. So this is especially awesome. I do hope this is true, because it would be amazing to see Hyrule actually fixed eventually, and just being able to talk to NPCs and explore the world without worrying about Ganon. But then at the same time, I'm not really sure this will be the case. I don't think they've ever done this in a Zelda game, and that might make it more difficult to have replayability if Ganon is completely defeated, but who knows. So yeah, anyways, those are my initial thoughts for now, and I'm going to go through the presentation in order and point out any small things I found interesting or I want to talk about.
Development on The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is now complete.
So yeah, it's good to hear the development on Tears of the Kingdom is completely finished. I mean, that should be kind of obvious. It's only 6 weeks away by now, so you know you'd hope it would be finished, but that's just good to hear. Also, by the way, through my analysis of the trailer, I'm not going to watch the whole trailer and point everything out. I'll just be going to the certain segments and mostly just like pointing out interesting things, because if you're watching this, you've probably already watched the trailer, and if you haven't, you can go watch the trailer yourself. So yeah, I'm mostly just going to pause the video and then look at some interesting things. There's a lot of interesting things, so yeah. So first of all, here you see Link's new design. He's riding on a horse. So the controls for the horse, same as Breath of the Wild. Top left, there's some sort of spiky looking structure, some sort of tower in the background over there. There were this raised hills in the background. Those seem to be new. Towards the right in the background, there's a tree. It looks to be some sort of building or something. And then the map seems to be acting the same, although the map is not fully mapped out yet, so maybe we have to find towers to map it out, or there's some other way. And there's also some weird numbers down here at the bottom of the mini-map. I'm not sure what these are for. Maybe they're like the coordinates of the map, but I'm not sure what the point of that would be. It could also be that it's just, it could be there for like the developmental version of the game, not the final release. And then also here in the top left, the left and right control options for the shield and the sword, those are the same. But then the up D-pad option, this time there's an apple icon, as you can see there, which means materials, and then later on we can see it's used to select materials to attach to something using the diffuse ability. So here, there seems to be smoke or something coming from somewhere. This could be from a house or something. I'm not sure what that is. And then here, the music that plays when you're riding a horse, that seems to be the same as Breath of the Wild. Also here in the background, you can see the robots with the red laser coming out. These are the constructs, which you see later in the trailer. They have the red eyes, and they have that weird thing on their heads. And then these are also probably, well, they are part of the ancient Zonai tribe. There's a lot of symbols left from the Breath of the Wild from the Zonai tribe. It's an ancient tribe. And later on, we do see that there is a part which basically confirms that this is part of the Zonai tribe. Then also here in the background, you can see a large tree on something up here. This is the Sky Islands. And then right here, you can see that green spiral thing that we saw in past trailers. So this is likely a way for you to get up to the Sky Islands quickly, or something like that. And also, we get a bit of a closer look at that right here. We can see that there. So this is definitely something. We've seen this quite a lot. I'm not really sure what that means yet. Then here, of course, there's a big sky island made out of stone in the sky. And then there's also the rock floating next to it, which you can see the one you can ride back up in the trailer that you reverse time using the recall ability. So right here, there's a text bubble that reads, "I need to reach my friend." So this might be a text bubble from an NPC giving a quest, so you need to help them out. And then on the left here, there's a stable. This is probably one of the same stables that was in Breath of the Wild. And then here on the left, there's someone sitting by a fire by the stable. It looks to be some sort of machine right there. You might be able to use this for crafting or something. I'm not sure. And then to the right, there's some wood propped up on a platform and some stairs. As I said before, looks like you'll be able to rebuild buildings and villages in the game. And there's also a large cart with wheels right next to it. So here on the left, there's some sort of building here. There's fire coming out of the top. And then you can see on the upper left, there's the rune symbol with the spike ball and the cross, which you later find out is the fuse ability. And then here we see the new recall ability. So this is like stasis. It manipulates time. It makes the object go backwards in time. And then here you can see Link's hand glowing bright. The symbol in the top left seems to be some sort of Japanese character of some sort, which represents this ability. And then there's a cursor in the middle you aim with. And then there's a blue circle, which is probably how long the effects of this ability last. And then also you just press L to stop the ability and probably drop the item where it is. And then right here, the bottom left, you see a bunch of wooden planks. This looks to be a small enemy camp. And then right here, there's a really good view of the green spirals again. So it seems to be coming from some sort of like seed-shaped structure. There's something wrapping around the side. It looks like a slide or something. I don't know. And then right here, these buildings, they almost look like large boxes or something. This seems to just be like a small sky island. There doesn't really seem to be anything here. Okay, and then right here in the background, by the stone, by the water, there's some sort of symbol here. It looks almost like a rocket ship. And you can also see, of course, the glider design is different from the first game. And, of course, you can press R to stop gliding and then dive to the ground. And then over here, you can see some weird symbols etched onto the grass. And this is probably related to the ancient Zonai tribe. And then right here, there's just a dragon flying by. And then here, again, you can see that weird pod bean-shaped structure that previously had the green spirals around it. This time, there's no green spirals. So that's kind of weird. And then there's also these large towers in the background. Maybe these are holding up like other sky islands above it, I suppose. Okay, and then here there's some pretty interesting looking structures here. And these trees have very bright yellow leaves, although that is all yellow too. And then right here we see a new enemy in the game. This is called a construct. And this seems to be some sort of robot. This is definitely related to the ancient technology made by the Zonai tribe. And it looks like they're able to pick up items to use as weapons, like the branch it's attacking Link with right now. And also, by the way, weapons, they still break in this game. Some people really don't like this, but I really liked it in Breath of the Wild. It makes you get more creative. You try more weapons and methods to defeat enemies. And it was rumored that you might be able to craft and repair weapons. I'm not sure if this is true. Probably not. It seems more likely you'll be able to use your weapons and fuse them with other things, and that'll give them more durability and be able to give them more uses. And then interestingly right here, when the construct explodes, it gives us some bright green light. This looks very similar to the green spirals we saw before, so they're probably related. Then right here we can see Link picked up what's called a Zonai charge and a soldier construct horn. So these seem similar to the ancient materials in Breath of the Wild. You can use them to make special weapons and items. And also this being called a Zonai charge, this definitely confirms these constructs are directly related to the ancient Zonai tribe. And then there's this building here in the background. It seems to have multiple levels. I don't know, maybe it could be like a boss slayer or something. You have to defeat all the enemies on the floor, progress to the next one. Maybe there's a boss at the top. Or maybe it's just an abandoned building, doesn't really have much purpose. I don't know, either way, it looks pretty cool. And then over here again, we see that same pod-like structure again and doesn't have the green spirals around that, so that's kind of interesting. And then right here we see the new fuse ability, so Link's fusing the rock and the stick together, making a more powerful weapon. So it seems like this will create possibilities that are endless with all the new things we can create, the weapons you can combine, so that's really interesting. And interestingly, these constructs, they make a sound effect when they see you. Sounds like an alarm. Reminds me of like a less powerful guardian in a way. And also their red laser-like eyes, they also shine on you, which is pretty interesting and cool. And then right here, when Link fuses the stick and the pitchfork, so there's a pop-up that shows +4, so this is probably the increase in power for the fused weapons.
You can also fuse arrows with materials in your inventory.
And then here we see you can fuse things with your arrows. You can make different kinds of special arrows. You can use an ice elemental object to make an ice arrow, or you can make monster parts to make a homing arrow, which is shown later on. Then there's many combinations of items. I'm sure that will be possible to make tons of different types of arrows. So instead of buying like ice bombs, shock bomb, or other arrow types, so we'll have to use materials with just regular arrows, but then add our own materials to make these types of arrows. And this will probably add a lot of unique arrows to the game, and this will allow players to be more creative with the weapons they use to defeat enemies, which is great to see. And here we do see some new items in this materials screen. So this vegetable, I think it's called a leek or something. It's like a new vegetable we can find. The amber right here looks quite a lot different from how it is in the main game. And there's also over here, there's some like new blue mushrooms, which we've also seen these on the ground. by the trees and the sky islands as well. And right here, there's some sort of new unknown object. It's kind of shaped like a dragon tail. I don't really know how to describe that. It has the exact same colors as the soldier construct horn, so maybe it's used to make something by fusing it. It must somehow be related to that. I'm not sure what those do yet. And then you can also see here, there's some sort of sphere. It has green spots. This definitely reminds me of like the orbs you can get from guardians and enemies, so maybe it has something to do with enemies. Maybe it's a new enemy, they drop these and you can use those with arrows or other materials to make various things. And then right down here in the mini map, so you can see there's an icon that has a symbol in it, so it's highlighted blue just like the shrines in Breath of the Wild, so that means it was probably completed and then you can teleport to this. So that's pretty interesting. It means nearby this area there's something like a shrine and it was completed. So I'm not really sure if the shrines are returning, but the symbol of the minimap, it does look similar to those cone-shaped things. So maybe there could be something like shrines you find you have to go through, and then you can teleport to those locations. They do seem too small to actually be shrines, but maybe they can get bigger or they could serve a completely different purpose. Either way, these things definitely do serve some sort of purpose. And also here we can see the fuse ability, attaching a mushroom to the shield, and basically when the enemy hits it, it explodes and it makes it hard for the enemy to see, so that gives you an advantage in battle where they can't actually see you. This is just interesting use, shows how many possibilities that the fuse ability gives us. And also right here, this is a new thing. You can do a sneak strike by pressing Y when you're sneaking behind an enemy, and this probably does way more damage. Right here, when Link is grabbing the rock with the fuse ability, there's some sort of small bug that hops by. It shows up as those 3 question marks, and then it just flies away right after that. Probably not really anything important, but yeah. And then right here in the background, you see something, it looks like rails. So we saw this in one of the other trailers, where Link was sliding down the rails, just like Sonic, basically. So these might be just another way to move around the world. Also, I just want to say, the water looks very good in this game. Tears of the Kingdom, it definitely seems to be higher visual quality, and the art style has improved a bit as well from Breath of the Wild. And also, it doesn't really seem to be having any frame drops, and it's running quite smoothly, so they probably optimized it quite a bit better than Breath of the Wild, since it's made natively for the Switch. Then right here in the upper left, so that's the Ultra Hand. Obviously, that's a reference to the toy that Nintendo used to make back in the 60s, but anyways, this symbol was also in the leaked art book, and looks to be like some sort of monster power hand, maybe Ganon's. And then, of course, with this ability, Link can grab, seems to be like nearly anything that can move, and then he can attach things together. Pretty similar to the fuse ability, and then you can create vehicles and other creations. And then there's this sort of green glue thing. This was rumored before, and when we saw the vehicles in previous trailers, and this sticks all the items together. And then, of course, you can grab all the logs, or you can also detach the individual logs using the Ultra Hand ability. And also with this, you can rotate it by holding R, and then you can unstick it by wiggling the R button back and forth. And there are some new arrows that show up here when you're placing the item, so this allows you to vertically or horizontally rotate it. And then interestingly, on the mini-map down here, there's several symbols. They look like little huts or something. And then you can see some have check marks. It means there's some sort of building, something you go to and complete. Maybe these are like new shrines. And then there's a blue symbol here. That could possibly be bigger shrines, almost like dungeons. And there's a symbol right here. This looks like a battery. Not sure what this could mean, but maybe this is the fans that we see later, because those do have a battery, so maybe that's the locations of nearby fans. And then right here, there's some other sort of enemy. This definitely looks to be Zonai related. This looks very similar to the constructs. This does not attack Link at all when he walks past it for some reason. And you can see there's a platform with a cooking pot. There's some other things here. Looks partially destroyed, and this will probably be a structure that we'll be able to rebuild. And then right there, new plant, stem bulb. And then right here, this is another one of the new abilities. This one, of course, is called Ascend. So we saw this in one of the trailers where Link ascended and then faced the ceiling. And this allows him to quickly travel above without having to climb a long time. This building looks like an ancient man-made building. There's many of these in the Sky Islands, and they probably have some significance. Maybe there's either old abandoned buildings that the Zonai tribe made long ago. They might have originally lived there up in the Sky Islands. Either they went down to Hyrule or they somehow became extinct. And then, of course, in here, we see that same creature again that looks similar to the constructs. It doesn't attack Link. This was also in the art book. It seems to be like some sort of golem or something. It's not attacking Link, so I'm not sure if it's really an enemy or what it does. Also, interestingly, when on the hill here, where it's obviously really cold, It says unbearable cold. I don't think this was in Breath of the Wild. In Breath of the Wild, it would just flash red instead of saying this, so that's kind of interesting. And also here, you can hear the same music from Breath of the Wild, the Field Snow theme. And then here, Aonuma, so he confirms there's some enemies that will be equipped with fused weapons. So this could either be like pre-made fused weapons that are made for the enemies to use, or possibly it could be like random items the enemies pick up and fuse together. This could make battles with enemies quite a bit more interesting, and these would be varied, and using all the different fused weapons, it makes it more interesting. And then we see another new item here, the Stamela Shroom. And then when Link is falling to the ground, so there's two orange circles down here. These have a really similar color scheme to the original shrines in Breath of the Wild. So these probably represent something specific and special. I'm not sure what that could be. And interestingly, we can see Hyrule Castle here. It looks like Malice is surrounding it. There's not as much as Breath of the Wild, so it's possible this could be something different. But there's definitely something going on here. And also Death Mountain, similar looking thing. Some winds and lava or something blowing out of the top. There are also these towers here. These have like some white light erupting from them. So these definitely are important. Maybe these replace the towers in the original Breath of the Wild. And you can see the Malice around the castle. And there's a bunch of stone structures and mountains in the background. These all look to be new, I'm pretty sure. Then here again, it looks like some ruins. You'll probably be able to rebuild these. There's even a sign right here next to this. Probably you can either interact with it to rebuild this, or maybe it'll eventually have the name of whoever lives there. And above it, right there, we see that new creature that we saw Link shoot in another trailer with a homing arrow. And also Link's new look, his new outfit. It's definitely really interesting. It seems more ancient than his outfit in Breath of the Wild. I'm not really sure what happened to his arm, and I don't know why it looks like that. It's kind of weird because some of the footage, he has like a normal looking arm, but then some of the footage, he also has this like arm, almost looks like a glove. So there's probably some event that happens in the game, something happens to his arm, and that's probably plays a big part in the story. And then again here, so Aonuma, he confirms there's the creative option in this game will probably be nearly endless. Just you can do a lot of things just by thinking about what's possible, and you're probably able to do that. And then here at the end, we hear this looks like a new rendition of Breath of the Wild's main theme, but sounding different. Maybe this is Tears of the Kingdom main theme. Not really sure about that. So yeah, anyways, that's all of the gameplay demonstration for Tears of the Kingdom. I'm definitely even more excited for this game than I was before. It seems like there will be so much new to explore and do. There's just a ton of little things that really interested me in this trailer. I'm sure the game will have a ton of interesting, great new things in it. Also, I am curious. I'm not sure with the music. I have not heard a ton of new music so far. And there has been like a good amount of reused music. Like, for example, the Snowfield theme, the Stables theme, those seem to be the same. But hopefully we do get quite a bit of new music. Of course, Breath of the Wild, it just had an amazing soundtrack. So I'm really excited to hear what they come with new music. And also, I just can't believe this game is only 6 weeks away. I think this is probably the most excited I've ever been for a game. And this game has the potential to possibly become my favorite game of all time. If this is better than Breath of the Wild, like that could be big. This game, I guarantee, is going to be amazing. And I just can't wait to play it. So yeah, anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I will probably be making some other Tears of the Kingdoms videos soon, along with other various gaming videos. And I will definitely be making videos on Tears of the Kingdom when it releases. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.